call the Town Hall Planning Board meeting to order. Prior to starting, ask you if you have electronic devices to turn them off or silence them as to not be in disturbance. You start with the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Adoption of the minutes of our previous session. Entertain a motion to adopt those minutes.
I have one correction though, that Nita Remain is still Nita on the minutes. Why they can go back to Nita and not Mindy.
Okay. David with the motion to accept the minutes with the amendment of the Needham names to be proper. Second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jeff. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Correspondence, I just received a note here from the Orange County Soil and Water Conservation District regarding the floodplain conservation areas, and this will be a seminar for floodplain management. If anybody's interested, I have the letter here, you can get a copy of it. And we're gonna file it. Okay. Chris has it, now we'll chase him down if you want it. Okay, that will move us to our topic tonight, good data. Data? John? Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. It's good to be with you. I was last before you in February, so obviously through much of last year we worked through various configurations of this proposed subdivision. In November, we presented the conservation format that we're currently in, which the board found acceptable, although they wanted a couple of the lots to be bigger because of the width. I reappeared in front of you in February, and I think we got concurrence with the map at that time, which kind of solidified the orientation and layout that we're currently working with within the plan drawings. Over the last couple months, I worked on all the other engineering issues, which to finalize in all the soil testing and the various things that I need to, including a stormwater report. Had hoped to be on in April. I know you canceled the meeting and I was not available last month, so I'm here tonight. So sorry I'm the only one on the agenda to bring you out tonight, but here we are. So I know I've gone back and forth with Jason on a number of what I call technical comments as it relates to both the plans as well as the supporting documentation, and I'll let him speak to that as well. But if we are close and the board likes, where we're at as far as the project, I'd like to request a public hearing, at your convenience. The way this will go is this will fall under Orange County DOH, or Department of Health review. In order to go there, I need to achieve what we call preliminary approval from this board. We call it preliminary, and then we go and then spend the better part of probably a good year with the DOH. And we'll do joint soil testing, we'll drill wells, we'll do all that. And at some point a year later, we'll be back for what we call final approval. So, but in order to get to preliminary approval, we'll need a public hearing. So that would be my request tonight, if you feel that the application is complete enough at this point in time, and we'll go from there.
Jason, would you like to bring us up to date with your comments?
Yeah, so as John mentioned, I made a number of revisions since originally started. If you recall, it was originally going to be sewered and have water from the adjoining Hidden Valley. Since then, it's been divided basically into the new configuration, moves the homes much further away from the power easement, and it's offering a significant amount of area in conservation. That includes some areas of wetlands which will be preserved as natural state, and then obviously the power easement itself. As he mentioned, he's gonna need a series of county approvals, including the Public Works and Realty subdivision and approval of the wells and septic, so he does have some work at the county level to do. But at this time, I would say that the project should probably be scheduled for a public hearing, because if there's going to be any more substantive changes that are the result of public comment, the applicant should probably be made aware of them.
Okay.
We do have some technical comments, a bunch of them are with respect to the stormwater pollution prevention plan, but frankly, I think he's better served to get the septics and stuff in orders, because that's gonna govern a lot of the design and could change configuration of the lots potentially if the health department required. So I think getting that in order before we double back and review all the stormwater in finer detail, or perfect it rather, is important.
Any board members with questions or concerns?
The only other thing I'd add is that, John, can you speak a little to the, you had submitted for a JD?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're awaiting that return, right?
Yeah, so, I'm assuming the board is aware of that recent regulation.
I mean, I'm aware of it, so there's been a change to
Yeah.
wetlands regulations where the DEC has the authority to bring a lot of additional wetland parcels into their jurisdiction. So, you're being kind of forced to submit for a jurisdictional determination, but I don't know that that's gonna have much effect on this, but I'll let you comment on it.
Yeah, so as Jason said, at the first of this year, January of this year, the state adopted a new wetlands regulation, which requires, almost all properties that we work that have any significant patches of wetlands to submit for what's called a jurisdictional determination. Prior to this year, most of the state wetlands were delineated, at least from a mapping perspective, so we would know if we had state wetlands on our property or not. This historically did not, it just didn't. So these would have been classified as what we call federal wetlands or governance by the Army Corps of Engineers. So beginning in January, you have to submit pretty much all of our properties for a state jurisdictional determination. And it's been a mixed bag. Some of the projects I've done have come back saying that the state wants to look at it closer, which means that they may have positive jurisdiction over it, and others they've come back and said that they do not. So we are waiting to hear on this. So what that would mean is that if they do say that the current wetlands, they would take jurisdiction over, then we would have to look at the buffers, because the state, unlike the federal, which doesn't have a buffer, the state does enforce what we call a 100-foot buffer. So all of I'll say 99% of our development is outside of that buffer, but there is a couple areas that would be. So if they do come back with what we call a positive jurisdictional determination, then there's a couple different avenues we can pursue. One is request a buffer permit, and generally speaking, with projects that have been ongoing prior to this recent adoption, they will give credence to that and work with you on that buffer versus something that's brand new that started just like now. So they would do that. The other thing is, like in November when the board, what I'll call conceptually agreed to the format that we were going for, Mr. Michael Fratz, who is our local DEC wetlands personnel, indicated that the DEC could look at that as being an accepted layout prior to the adoption of the regulation. So that would also weigh into a positive approval from them. So really what it comes down to is if they come back and say that they have a positive jurisdiction, we would have to look at a couple of avenues, for parts of that fall within the 100-foot buffer. Yeah. We're not actually impacting any of the wetlands other than the one crossing down below. That will need to be permitted regardless, you know, that was gonna have to be permitted anyway. But we're really talking about this patch up in here, so. And hopefully that I answered everybody's question regarding that.
So with the change that they have, do they come out on any application? Do they come out to the site, or do they do the work off of the maps and the information they have in office?
So when you do the initial request for jurisdictional determination, that they do from an office.
So it's only if there's a positive,
It's only if there's a
then
positive,
they
and
come
then
out to the field.
if it's a positive, then you move to what we call a second stage, where you submit your project, you know, with the jurisdictional determination, and then it gets assigned specifically to, you know, I'll call it an engineer. In this case, Michael Fratz covers our area, so like, if this comes back as a positive, and I've actually already talked to him about this, so, but if it comes back positive, then we would submit it to Michael, and he would determine the next steps, basically. Which again, I think at a minimum, you know, it would, if it comes back positive, we would request a buffer permit.
Yeah.
So, because we would have portions within the buffer.
Buffered from what, from the house
Yeah,
the footprint of the house? or
Is
the
any
septic?
activity within the buffer, so it could be as minimal as grading or anything like that.
What do they want, 100-foot buffer?
they've always, yeah, that's been their regulation for as long as I can remember, 100 foot from any state regulated wetland. Yes, they make, unlike the federal wetlands where there is no buffer. You know, you could literally build and disturb right up to the boundary. And then there's a lot of nationwide permits for federal wetlands too that you can get, you know, mitigated efforts from. But the DEC requests 100 foot. And it's considered a protected buffer, so.
So none of these lots are in the sewer district, Hidden Valley Sewer District?
No, that was what we tried to accomplish a couple years ago.
Okay.
And it was determined that that was not gonna be possible to tie in, so that's why we're in wells and septics.
Okay.
Any other comments, concerns? Okay, well, I think we should move forward with, I don't believe we've declared intent for lead agency. Or no, we have declared intent, maybe.
We maybe just should reaffirm it because it's
Okay.
been so long.
All right, I guess we'll start with that the Tenamount Hope Planning Board will have this in the form of a motion, declares lead agency for this project under the rules of secret. Motion, please. David, thank you.
I'll second
Brian, thank you. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's carried. Also like to have in the form of a motion that we schedule a public hearing for, we're gonna have 30 days until next month. Be pretty close. Could be one of 16. I think we're 2 days short.
That's gonna be, well,
Yeah, I think we'll have to make it for August. Unless I counted wrong.
No, it's exactly 28 days.
Okay.
It's exactly 28 days, yeah.
We schedule a public hearing for this application for our August meeting, which will be August 20th?
20th,
20th, yeah.
August 20th?
Yes.
20th.
Make that in the form of a motion, please.
I'll make it.
John, thank you. Second?
Second.
John, thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Yeah,
opposed?
you?
That's also carried.
Who? Oh, John.
Something else we need at this time, Jason, or we good?
No, I think we're okay.
Okay.
There's a few items on here, but again, they're mostly technical. Let me just run through this major, so just so everybody, because it's been a while going back and forth, it's 12 lots, so it's a major subdivision. It does have some outside agency approvals. There'll be parkland fees. We submitted for the JD. And I think ultimately, we're gonna require a bond for this because those roads are gonna be dedicated, I'm assuming, and there's gonna be some stormwater features that, need to be constructed that are associated with those roads.
Normal stuff.
Normal stuff, yes.
Yeah, we've got another year or so to work through all those.
Yeah,
other
it's like a
things.
year.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, very good.
okay. Very
So
good.
we'll see you in August.
See you in
and
August,
move
yeah.
forward. Thanks, John.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Reports from engineer and or attorney or both, if you have such.
I don't have anything to report.
Okay,
And I go along with that, neither do I.
thank you. I have nothing extra to add. We'll move into public participation. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to be heard tonight? No? Once more, public participation, anybody got a big itch to talk to us? We're here. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close our meeting. Chris with the motion, thank you. Second. Brian with the
Hey,
second.
Brian.
I think we're all in favor. Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't get, who made the second on the minutes?
Second on the
Jeff,
minutes.
you made the first motion?
I made the first.
David made the
David,
first.
and,
Jeff.
okay, David, and Jeff, okay. I'm sorry, thank you. I'll call.